Hi, this is Ty the Art Guy, and we're doing a little watercolor demonstration. Today we're going to do a seagull. There's my reference photo that you can see there. And I've done the drawing. I'm now doing some frisket, masking it with this liquid frisket, and then we will do the painting. I'm not crazy about using liquid frisket. It can be very messy if you're not careful, but it does work well, and it will come off like rubber cement. Starting the first wash of the painting, we're going to do the sky area. I'm using a cerulean blue. This is a Winsor Newton cerulean blue. I like it for its transparency. It's not as opaque as other cerulean blues. I'm going to mix some cobalt in there as well. My paper is really wet. I like playing with the chaotic accidents that happen in watercolor. I kind of let nature take its course, the flow of the water and the pigment mixing in with the water. The goal here is to create sort of a windy day at the beach. So this will give the impression that there's some turbulence in the skyline. There you go, you see me putting in some more of the cobalt blue into these and mixing it together. And my token little water gun there. I'm going to get some more chaos going, some flow, some water flow, some movement in the pigment and such. And you see how the liquid frisket is blocking the paint. Very handy to use. Like I said, it's just a mess sometimes. You've got to sacrifice a paintbrush or something to go with it. It's tough to clean those up. Alright, now we're going to start the ocean. This is a Prussian blue, very bright blue. I love this blue. It can be opaque, and you can also use it transparently. I like the flexibility of this Prussian blue. So I've got some frisket also in the wave areas of the ocean. You'll see as they come about. I painted over them, but you can see how they're kind of blocking the paint. So we're going to slap this down real quick and get all that down, and then we will slap the beach colored first wash down. This is going to be a cadmium yellow with some yellow ochre, so I like using that. And here we go, do this, and slap, slap, brush, slap, slap, brush. There we go. And then I'm going to start with a little bit of the poster. I put some raw sienna and some ultramarine. Now I'm going to go through here and I'm going to take off the liquid frisket. As you can see, it just rubs off like rubber cement. You can use your fingers like I'm doing, or you can get a rubber cement remover as well. It makes these little rubber cement boogies. You slide those off. But it peels right off the paper pretty nicely. You can see it's got some sharp edges to it where it masked the color in the water. So there you go. And make some waves. I will soften those up a little later. And we just rub this all off. And that's how you take care of the liquid frisket. Give some texture. You can make some texture. Now that you got some areas that you've done, you can just paint over them. And give some transparency and overlapping of color. This is a raw sienna. I'm going to come in here and then I'm going to get some burnt umber and some burnt sienna and ultramarine blue, and I'm going to do this post. Kind of hope it's an aged post there at the sea bay. There you go. See? And we got some texture of the wood grain. I did that by turning the brush over on its solid side, not the brush side, and put some grooves in the paper, so when the paint goes into the grooves, it kind of soaks in a little deeper. We'll get more detail on this when we do the final piece with the ink. Here we go. Ultramarine in there with the burnt umber, burnt sienna. Really get some value and tones there in the wood. So the seagull here, I am doing, as you saw in the reference photo earlier, he was more gray. But we're going to take the gray areas and we're going to make our own grays with a little color. We're using violet, ultramarine, and alizarin crimson in here. It's a colder red, the alizarin. And I'm just blending them in, giving the gray a little bit more color instead of just being a flat gray. Now it looks a little rich, but I'm going to show you a little trick where we can lighten that up a little bit and get back to our grayness. You can just pick the color up sometimes. So there we are, we're getting the definitions of our seagull in a little bit, blocking that in. Taking care of it like that. Soften it up a little bit. The feathers are a little softer. Just pick some paint up a little bit there. Like I said, I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. This is just a regular washcloth. I'm just dabbing it onto the wet paint and pulling up the paint a little bit to get our colorful gray. Now I'm working on the tail. This is Payne's Gray and Ultramarine, and I am creating that black with an Ultramarine, blue, and a Payne's Gray. And I'm going to start in the black area of the tail, and this will also be the legs and the beak. So I just color that in there. A little paint right there. Take whatever's in the mixing tray and just put it to work. Good use. Let it blend. Make some accidental choices. Here are the legs. Same color as on the tail. It's not a pure black, but it's a dark blue gray. Take care of the beak. A little bit around the eye, some definition. Take some of it off again. There we go. Alright, so here we're almost done. We're getting close to the end. I am going to soften up these edges, redo the ocean line, and there's some hard edges on these waves from the Prisket, so I'm going to soften them up a bit and just take care of that. Get some edges in there, some combination of hard edges and soft edges. Some waves, you know, kind of soften up as they roll over, and they're not as solid and as hard edge as the Prisket makes it. Same with the bird. There's some hard edges on the seagull, and we're going to soften, kind of straighten those out a little bit, smooth them out. Minor things. Kind of drawing with the paint now, and soften up some of these colors. More definition on the bird. It's a very playful thing to do here. I'm really enjoying this more than I should, I think. We should probably let it go. Let it go, Ty. Come on. Finish up. Soften that area up and move on. There we go. Same thing, a little bit more definition. I'm going to put some Indian red in with the little yellow ochre to get a little more definition on the sandy beach. Just a little depth in there. We still want to guide the eye of the viewer of our painting around a little bit, even though it's a very centralized subject matter. You still want to give them stuff to guide them around it. Now this is the last thing I'm going to do. This is an India ink and a dip pen, where you dip the pen into the ink and draw. I'm using a B6 pen nib, and I am just drawing out the bird one more time. Now I'm doing it with ink, putting some line work and definition on the fence post and the seagull. And there we go. Messy process if you're not too careful. You've really got to pay attention. But there we are. Not a bad little seagull. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you have fun yourselves. Ciao.